All right, so let's start this live stream by watching this video. Um, it's quite interesting. So there you have it. you know, um, sometimes when you see stuff like that, you kind of wonder if you're in the wrong business. So the question that we're going to answer is, and I mean this in a serious economist way, is OnlyFans, are they a bunch of simps? Why did OnlyFans reverse the porn ban, right? So I've done two videos so far on OnlyFans. The first one was analyzing their business model. Second one was analyzing the economic and market consequences of banning porn. And you can check out those videos if you're curious about my commentary there. But little did I know that the second video was put out, I think, a couple of days ago, and now we're already here talking about how, um, you know, the ban is over. The reversal, it's been reversed, right? And so we need to talk about exactly what happened, why did they do that, right? And just I just my head is spinning a little bit. So excuse me. I never thought that I would be making this video, um, because I certainly didn't want this channel to be an OnlyFans video. Okay, but they do have a very interesting business model, and it was impacted by the COVID lockdowns. And so it made for a very interesting case study. And I mean this sincerely when I say, after all has been said and done, I believe that this OnlyFans, and their decisions in the last few months will be a case study for business schools and business school students, because there is so much going on in terms of the financial implications, the financial analysis side of it, and then now we're having to think about the public relations side of it, right? In business school, we study all aspects of management decisions, and this is certainly a doozy, for a company to make a major PR move and make an announcement that has massive implications for this business model, and then 2 days later to reverse that. It's astonishing. I think it's well worth your time. If you're a student of business, if you're a student of the economy, if you're a student of finance and public relations, and maybe you're an MBA student or whatnot, but this is well worth your study. And I think there's going to be a lot of ink devoted to what happened here. But let's talk about the implications of this latest announcement, the reversal of the ban against porn. So now they're back to porn. Yes, we are porn. And then we're going to look again at the numbers, and then at the end I'll give you my final thoughts and takeaways. And I think I've got an inkling of their exit plan, right? Because this is not the end of it. I assure you, there is no way that this is the end of the story, because OnlyFans does need to plot a course, um, away from porn at a certain point, right? So let me get into some of the numbers. You know, First of all, just a quick review. We'll just touch on this because we're not going to get deep into the details, but these are some of the details that you saw in the previous video. But this particular graph is extremely, extremely important to what I'm about to say to you right now, for you to understand exactly what's happening, and also to link it to my other two videos. But anyways, this chart here, you can see that when the pandemic hit, which is really the this red line here, right? And OnlyFans, in terms of their search volume, skyrocketed, while comparable subscription-based, platforms, fee-based or tip-based platforms stayed steady, and there was no movement at all. In fact, some of it looks like a little bit went down a little bit, and that goes to the heart of the question for this live stream right now in terms of what happened with OnlyFans, what was the cause of their reversal, and it is really hitting on this point here that OnlyFans shot up during the pandemic, right? Now, why is that? Why would all these other platforms be ignored, and yet it is OnlyFans that has shot up, and the business and their search volume, it all skyrocketed. I mean, to the point where, again, we're just briefly going through the numbers here. Okay, look at the content creators, the number of content creators from January 2020 to December. Let's call it 12 months roughly, right? I mean, it went from I'm going to say 60,000 to a million. That is a massive, massive growth. And obviously, that was attracted by all the money that was being made. But there was also aspects of the pandemic, with sex workers having to go onto the platform to make a living, to survive, right? And again, like I said before, no judgment here, okay? All I care about is the economic analysis, the economic implications of what's happening, right? And we know what's happening. We know what's going on here. Why is it that OnlyFans is the one that is having projections like this, right? The gross merchandise value, right? I talked about this in my previous video, but basically it means the total value in dollar terms of all the goods and services that pass through a platform, right? And the platform obviously is OnlyFans. So let's kick back a little bit and think about, you know, what's happening here, right? What differentiated OnlyFans from the other platforms? Come on, we already know. It's porn, right? People were on lockdown, they were bored, um, and they had heard that, there was explicit material, nude photos and videos available on OnlyFans, and that kicked up the interest. And you see this in this graph here. So it is by no means an exaggeration to say that OnlyFans has been driven in its growth by the porn content that's available, right? Look at this chart. It's blatantly obvious, right? Now, the one thing that we don't have that it would have been very nice to have in terms of our understanding, our analysis, is to say how much of the revenue derived from OnlyFans is from explicitly uh, uh, you know uh, explicitly from explicit material. Say that three times fast. Versus some of the more tamer content that's being put there. I mean, we had some news about Beyonce and Cardi B giving behind the scenes access and all that, but on the nose of it, I think we can pretty much guess that the vast majority is really the porn content that's being served up in the platform. So um, looking back at it, I mean, um, look at the projections here. We're talking about uh, amount of business moving through this platform of possibly this year, almost $6 billion. Now that's a projection. We don't know if that's really going to happen. Of course, there's been a disruption in the business precisely because of this ban and the reversal, and now everybody's wondering what in the world is going on, right? But um, the thing that we really need to establish right away is the fact that how important porn content has been to the growth of OnlyFans, right? And so there was some confusion, which I noted in the previous video when I said, especially the part right here, where the company said some nude photos and videos would still be allowed on the site. And I said, wait a second, hold on a second. Um, do you really want to be in the business of differentiating between nude photos versus pornography? You know, explicit photos. I don't know. I mean, there was a Supreme Court case um, about pornography, and even there was no clear definition. I think one of the justices simply said, "I don't know. I can't define porn, but I know it when I see it." You know, um, maybe it was Justice Thomas or one of the conservatives, but in any case, This created some confusion in my mind in saying, okay, wait a second, you're saying you're banning porn, but you're allowing nude photos and I guess the videos too, and what does that even mean? You know, um, and so I thought, this is a very confused message. This is a very poorly constructed PR move. Um, and I'm going to get more into the implication of their business and their business model in a little bit. But let's also talk about the actual message. So there was all this, 2, 3 days before they were out there saying, okay, no more porn. It's done. It's out. Get it out. Get it out of here. Because we want to go IPO, right? And we want to clean up our content. We want to clean up our message. We want to clean up our image because we want access to, those high dollar, um, capital sources. They want money from the big banks and so on and so forth. So now they did a reversal. This is the actual message. So let's do a quick read. They're saying, quote, thank you to everyone for making your voices heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. OnlyFans stands for inclusion, and we will continue to provide a home for all creators. Unquote. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now that this is a basic complete corporate gobbledygook. I mean, just you read that, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't even say anything, right? I mean, this is the kind of message about inclusion and being supportive for all creators, even before they banned porn, right? I mean, they basically had to maybe tweak a couple of words and that's it, right? So this is a typical press release. I think this is a case study in business school for public relations and press releases. And this is a terrible, and I don't necessarily blame it on the person who put this out because, I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, there was a major reversal after all the publicity about saying no more porn, and now we're back to porn. How do you, I mean, you need a hard hat, to avoid a whiplash within only 3 days. 3 days, So um, now they're saying, okay, we changed our minds. Hey, you know what? We're just kidding. All those thousands and millions of content creators who provide, billions of dollars in revenue for us, don't leave. we're just messing with you. I don't know. Is that a PR move? I don't know what that is, but anyways, they are still confronted with the problems that they mentioned before. Okay, this is another um, statement. I'm gonna enlarge the screen so that you can see this. This is a quote given to the Hollywood Reporter from OnlyFans. Um, and they're saying that the porn ban, forget it. You know what? They're saying, quote, are no longer required due to banking partners' assurances that OnlyFans can support all genres of creators. Okay, here's another BS public relations statement right here. This is not helping at all. It's not. You don't do a major reversal like that and suddenly say, hey, you know what? It's like, and now you're gonna put it on the banks, right? I mean, it wasn't. Look, the banks may have had some reservations about doing business with you, but they were still doing business with you, and it's your management that decided to go out and make a major public PR release and do a 180 on your business model, um, and now they're trying to pin it on the banks, on their capital partners, quote unquote, right? So um, this is another empty statement. Let's press on. We don't have to spend much time on this. So, um, this is interesting because I took this snippet because it has a quote from the founder, Tim Stokes, talking about how Chase was particularly aggressive in closing accounts of sex workers or any business that supported sex workers, right? And this quote, by the way, this is um, prior to the reversal. I want to make that clear. This particular quote was prior to the reversal, and this quote had been offered up as part of the justification, right? Um, of For saying, hey, hey, we need to ban porn content because these horrible banks are twisting our arms. They won't accept our payment processing, and it's not us, it's them. It's not me, it's you. you know, you know, and so they're putting it on the banks. Um, I don't know. I have also been involved with the banking business, and I can tell you that there are always banking partners around who are willing to do business with you. Maybe the rates are higher, maybe the terms are a little bit more onerous, but I gotta tell you, I mean, there's always banks. Deutsche Bank stands to mind. Um, so the point about this particular quote though is that I want to point out that you know uh, the problem that they have is still there, right? Um, you know, they still have an issue with venture capitalists if they want to go IPO. I mentioned in my previous broadcast that there are provisos in a lot of the chapters for venture capital firms that say you can't get into any business that involves, explicit materials or sex industry or porn or that kind of stuff. And of course, branding partners are still a problem. So right now, what has happened is that OnlyFans has created even more problems for themselves than before. They could have just bit the bullet and say, hey, you know what? We're going to stay the course and we're going to depend on the sheer volume and strength of our platforms to get us through this transition period. And sure, we're going to lose quite a bit of money, but you know, the long-term future is a positive for us. And of course, 2 days later, they reverse course um, and now they've got an additional very, very serious problem on their hands, which you see in this quote here, right? And so let's just take a quick snippet. Many creators are who were scrambling to find alternatives in the wake of last week's announcements do not see this turnaround as a victory. Quote, if this is a win, it's a temporary one, right? Quotes I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name. I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, but he, I'm not sure. A non-binary creator who uploads content dedicated to fat pleasure under the pseudonym Borlord. Okay, I think this stream is worth watching just for that phase. And I'm not trying to make fun of this individual. I'm not trying to ridicule her or put her down, but um, come on, a non-binary creator who uploads content dedicated to fat pleasure under the pseudonym Borlord. So I have no idea what that's about. Okay, I am not one of her fans. I do not subscribe to her. I don't understand I don't know what is fat pleasure. I don't know what Borlord means. But anyways, to go on. Quote, I've never seen a platform reverse course like this ever. The language they chose in their announcement worries me. Suspend does not instill confidence, and they refuse to mention sex workers or erotic laborers by name. They went back to the careful doublespeak of creator and all genres. We're long past the point of dancing around the stakes. The porn ban could return October 2nd. And you know what? She's This person is exactly right. Apologies for not knowing the proper pronoun, but um, this individual is saying exactly what I said. Just that we read the press release, we read the comments, the comment to the Hollywood Reporter. None of that means anything. Nothing. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't resolve anything, right? What's important is the actual policies, and having a reversal of this major magnitude after only 3 days is a disaster. Okay. So, on top of all the problems that you've got with venture capital, with brand partners, now you have installed a serious doubt, a very understandable, reasonable doubt in the minds of content creators saying, okay, how long is this going to last, right? And I think, or I suspect, in fact, that they have a very valid point here. right? Um, I think that uh, the management of OnlyFans realized, number one, the sheer volume of income that comes from porn itself on their platform and how rapidly it could disappear, and the implication on their own, salary. And also, I think uh, there is an understanding. I think they're gonna basically look for a different exit strategy than simply announcing and saying, "Okay, no more porn." That was that was not the way to go. It clearly was not the way to go. And again, I think this, in terms of redesign of your business model, in terms of public relations, in terms of brand management, there is so much here to be studied in business school. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very, very interesting. I might even say titillating case um, for business schools all over this country. But anyway, so I mentioned the exit strategy, and let's go on to discuss that. So here, let me enlarge the screen and let's talk about this. So OnlyFans has an app. Doesn't everybody? I feel like I should have an app, and I started this channel 2 months ago, and maybe I should have an app. But anyway, so while OnlyFans grew to popularity largely based on its porn-friendly policy, yeah, no kidding. The company has been looking to reach wider audiences. For example, this month it officially launched OF, I suppose OnlyFans. Oh, okay, so OnlyFans TV, a streaming app that excludes sexually explicit content, in part to obtain distribution on platforms that disallow porn. That includes Android, ISO, Apple TV, Roku, etc., etc. Okay, I think this is extremely, extremely important consideration in our discussion today. Because this sounds like a much more reasonable type of exit plan. You know, do an offshoot. Split off and create a separate. Use the revenue from your poor content and build an associated and a separate platform, basically. I mean, it's separate in the sense that it's a different platform, but obviously you have all the brand power, you have all the leverage, all the name recognition, you know, from your current OnlyFans, a platform, and you could have slowly evolved. So I think this is a much more a reasonable, um, uh, you know, uh, development, a way to leverage the market power that OnlyFans has, and to develop a platform that, in this case, excludes porn content. Now, at this point, in terms of my final thoughts and conclusion, I really want to refer you to the first video that I did on this channel about OnlyFans, right? Excuse me, there seems to be an airplane flying overhead, so if there's a little bit of a buzzing sound, I apologize for that. But uh, in that video, I did a competitive analysis of their business model and said, you know what? I have serious doubts about how they're going to compete if they actually remove porn from their content, right? I made that video, I think maybe 3 weeks ago, you know, and I was saying, look, if you make this PR move, it has dire consequences for your business model, and the fact that not only are you losing money, but the main thing that venture capitalists look for, and I mentioned this specifically because we are talking about venture capital firms and investments and IPOs specifically. I said what they seek is a sustainable competitive advantage, right? And the platform of OnlyFans has one competitive advantage, and you see this here, you know, in this chart, right? It's porn. Let's be honest here. Their competitive advantage is porn. That's why you see this, this growth was driven by porn, right? And so it's nice, and I think it's a more reasonable idea that you have an app that is more accessible, that can be placed on a more platform because it doesn't have porn. But it comes back to the original question that I raised in my first video, which was asking, well, then who are you? What are you? What competitive advantage do you have other than porn? And I think this is where the management of OnlyFans, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? They can't move further and develop their platform and get access to larger amounts of capital, investment money. Um, but the thing that generates money for them and creates that competitive advantage is the porn, which is blocking you from access to that to the larger capital market, right? And so it's the chicken and egg place, you know. I mean, and that's why I said this is actually an excellent case study for business school and business school students because how management navigates this transition. And I believe 100% that this transition is still ongoing. It didn't stop, right? They basically put out a press release to stop the bleeding. That's basically what it was, right? Um, and so how they navigate between a rock and a hard place is going to be very, very interesting to track. As things develop, I will do more videos on this, but I also don't want this to be an OnlyFans channel. Okay, so I'm going to continue covering inflation, the labor market shortage, the housing market. The housing market right now is very much on people's mind, and I think people need clarity on that. But in any case, my takeaway from this is that, yeah, they're in a hard situation right now. You know, um, the only thing that gives you a competitive advantage is porn, but it's the porn that's blocking you from accessing the larger capital sources. So um, they've got a lot of work to do, and I think this app may be part of the exit strategy. You know, I have a feeling that there was a lot of discussions with the company, and I'm sure the thing that's going on with the app was brought up, but they need more than that. And it'll be interesting to see exactly what develop. But anyways, so that's the stream for today. I hope you found that useful. You found that interesting. I usually stream Wednesday nights, Sunday afternoons, but typically stream a lot more. Yeah, tonight's Thursday night, so be on the lookout for that. If you found this interesting, uh, give me a like. It really helps with the algorithm, helps me grow the channel, so I can bring more of this content to you. So until then, uh, I'll